JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, JC student's killer seeks 12-year cutting sentence. Kwesi Hart, the man who was given a life sentence after killing a Jamaica College JC student in 2016 following a robbery attempt, wants the Court of Appeal to reduce his 31-year pre-parole period by at least 12 years. Hart, whose matter is scheduled to be heard in appellate court on the week of December 19, is contending that his sentence is manifestly excessive. The convict, who is about 26 years old, was sentenced in 2019 and ordered to serve 31 years in prison before being considered for parole after he pleaded guilty to the murder of 14-year-old Nicholas Francis, a crime which had sparked public outrage and heightened concerns about students' safety. The student, who was in third form, died at hospital minutes after Hart plunged a knife into his chest during an altercation on a bus on October 26, 2016. Hart, who stabbed the youth after attempting to steal his watch, had surrendered to the police 3 days later. The killer, who pleaded guilty just before the start of his murder trial, was sentenced almost 3 months later in the Home Circuit Court and was given a 10% discount. The 3 years that he had spent in custody before the sentencing were also subtracted from his sentence. Sentencing Judge Justice Lorna Shelley Williams had indicated that the starting point for the crime was 40 years, but after doing her calculation, it had whittled down to 31 years. Hart, however, appealed the sentence. Among the grounds of the appeal are that the judge had not followed the classical principles of the sentencing guidelines and had not sought to balance the mitigating and the aggravating factors, which resulted in Hart being given an excessive sentence. Another is that the judge did not give sufficient weight to Hart's age or his expression of remorse. Government prosecutors led evidence that on the day of the incident, Francis and Hart were seated beside each other on the minibus that was heading towards Halfway Tree, St. Andrew, when the teenager blurted out, "Talk team now." It was later observed that the convicted killer was holding on to Francis's wristwatch and the teen was trying to brush him off. A fist fight reportedly broke out, but the two were quickly separated by one of the two conductors, who gave Francis a seat to the rear of the minibus. Prosecutors say that when the vehicle got to another bus stop, located meters from JC, Hart took Francis's knapsack and tossed it out the door. It was reported that another JC student was about to get on the bus, picked up the bag. However, prosecutors say Hart stopped him, asking, "Are you son enough? A fear bag?" When another passenger intervened and took up the bag, Hart again grabbed the knapsack and threw it to the ground. According to prosecutors, this triggered a second fist fight. Francis was stabbed on the hand and in the chest as the conductor tried to separate them. Floodgate in Bogwa Gorge to be fixed after outcry from residents. The National Works Agency NWA has committed to fixing a floodgate at the northern end of the Bogwa Gorge in St. Catherine, following an outcry from residents in the area. The gate has been wrenched from the concrete pillar to which it was attached and now resides on the roadside. The gates are activated to reduce risk to motorists whenever the rear Kobe overflows and the Bogwa Gorge becomes impassable. Residents are concerned that the current situation could put motorists at risk. "This gate pop off by someone about 2 months ago. I'll know nobody no fix it," said Norman Kelly, a driver. Teacher Denise Brown said, "Can you imagine? The rear Kobe flood out the road and people just drive through as there's no working gate?" Some residents of Kent Village said there's an urgent need for the gate to be fixed. Manager of Communication and Customer Services at the NWA, Stephen Shaw, says the matter will be addressed. "The gates along the corridor are very important to the safety of all, so we'll be working to address this issue," he said. 2 men are being prosecuted for trying to breach one of the floodgates in the area in September. The gates were closed due to flooding in the gorge. St. Ann man charged with robbery with aggravation. A 22-year-old man has been charged with robbery with aggravation, stemming from an incident that happened on the Duns River Main Road in St. Ann on Wednesday, November 16. Charges Brian Irving from the parish. Reports are that about 4 p.m., Irving, armed with a handgun, pounced upon an unsuspecting man and robbed him of his cell phone, camera, and other belongings. Quick action by the police led them to the location where Irving was arrested and charged the same day. His court date is being finalized. Crawford condemns double murder and widespread robberies in Manchester. Member of Parliament for Manchester Central, Rhoda Crawford, has condemned Friday night's double murder and armed robbery at a supermarket in Porus, while expressing concern over the increasing number of robberies and shootings in the South Central Parish. Crawford's constituency borders Manchester Southern in Porous. I'm extremely concerned about the number of robberies and shooting incidents, especially those that have amounted to fatalities of innocent residents. I mourn with the victims and their families, she said. Gunmen on Friday killed 2 people during a robbery of a supermarket in Porous. The deceased have been identified as Jin Chen He, a Chinese national who was one of the proprietors of the supermarket, and Alfonso Cohen. Crawford said the recent incidents of robberies in Manchester are frightening. No law-abiding Manchesterian, none of us want to see Manchester become a hotspot for criminal activities, she said. She commended the police and military for apprehending suspects in relation to the robbery incidents. I'm encouraged by the swift action of the security forces in responding to each incident, especially last night's apprehension of 4 suspects and the seizure of firearms. I give my full support to the lawmen. I thank them for the sacrifice of putting their own lives at risk to keep us safe, she said. I want to thank residents who have gone forward to share what they know with the police. We must not provide any safe haven for criminals, she added. She's urging citizens to assist the police. I'm appealing to my constituents and residents of the wider Manchester to stay as calm as they can and to keep as safe as they can, and for us to continue to join hands with the security forces as we continue to battle the crime monster that is plaguing our parish and country, she said. New Road Traffic Act and regulations to be implemented in February 2023. The Road Traffic Act 2018 and the Road Traffic Regulations 2022 are slated to be implemented in February 2023. This was disclosed by Transport and Mining Minister Audie Shaw, who pointed out that this legislation will aid in curbing and disciplining the traffic environment and will see motorists facing tough sanctions for breaching the rules. This is not in an effort to punish or chastise persons, but to drive home the message that the traffic environment is not a playground and must be handled with responsibility and utmost care, Shaw said. He was speaking during the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services 9th 40-day Road Safety Awareness Campaign Stakeholders Partnership Roundtable Conference on Thursday at Boulevard Baptist Church in Kingston. Shaw, who said the ministry is engaging critical stakeholder groups in dialogue about the new legislation, indicated that a public education campaign will shortly be rolled out. Between January 1 and December 8 this year, a total of 444 persons died from 386 motor vehicle collisions. November accounted for 50 fatalities, resulting from 41 collisions, while 6 have so far been recorded in December. Shaw, in lamenting the high road fatalities, said the Act's provisions are intended to curb reckless driving practices frequently occurring on the nation roads and ultimately reduce the number of deaths. In 2021, there were 487 road fatalities, which Shaw said represented the highest number recorded. We remain resolute as government in our efforts to arrest the carnage on our roads in a sustainable way. The Island Traffic Authority and Road Safety Unit within the ministry continue to work with law enforcement agencies to strengthen our road safety mechanism as we curb these road fatalities. Jamaica is committed to reducing road traffic crashes, fatalities, and attendant injuries, he maintained. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.